Okay. So why exactly do we need the channel proteins or the transport proteins? The reason for this is that plasma membrane or cell membrane is made up of is made up of phospholipid bilayer. What does that mean? See, it's lipid. Is lipid and water soluble it's soluble in each other? Of course not. They're completely opposite in nature. If this is a phospholipid, it's kind of unique. A phospholipid is not, you cannot call it non-polar even. Because let me write. A polar molecule is it's hydrophilic. Hydro means water, philic means love. So you say it is water loving. Non-polar is hydrophobic. You know what phobia means? Phobia
It's
is
afraid. Oh
afraid.
wait, no, 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 no. Hydrophobia means it can't. Like water doesn't. It doesn't get wet basically.
Yes. So that's water fearing. That's why it's not like, it doesn't want to be there in water. So phospholipids they have the head, which is polar, and the tail, which is non-polar.
Okay.
Okay, it's unique having both the types of structures in the same molecule. So therefore, you call them as amphipathic molecule, and because of this nature, they arrange themselves in bilayer, in two layers, like this. Okay, now when you have a layer like this, imagine a situation where the layer is like this. You have phospholipids arranged in this way. This is the cell membrane, and
Yeah.
glucose. Why like this? It's because here there is aqueous medium, and inside the cell also there is aqueous medium. So like the tails cannot serve. I mean, if you will have monolayer, the tail will have a lot of problem, right?
Yeah.
Where will the tail go? Because it doesn't like water. Therefore, they arrange themselves in the bilayer. Now,
Oh,
glucose can stay here. Glucose or any polar molecule can stay here. Glucose or any polar molecule can stay inside the cell as well. But their passage is difficult. How do they pass through the membrane? Because the tails will repel it. Even if it tries to enter that, the tail will push it. So that's why you need these transporter molecules. You need the transport proteins. Transport proteins facilitate the diffusion. That's why you called it as facilitated diffusion. All right, clear? And that
yes, ma'am.
too will be down the concentration gradient. Now the question is, do you have just one type of transport protein or do you have variety? Yes, you do have. Transport proteins, transport proteins are of two types. One is the carrier protein and another is the channel protein. A channel protein is the one that I have drawn there. It will completely like pass through the membrane like this, making a channel, and a carrier protein can be found at one of the face here, like this. It can bind to a molecule, can flip and change its position like this, and like deliver it here. This is how it works, changing its conformation and all. So this is about this was about diffusion, where the ATP is not required. Now about active transport, and then we'll talk about what happens in the root.
Sure.
Active transport, I told you, is that energy is needed. Any active process actually requires energy. Energy in the form of ATP is needed. So you have got and because energy is needed, the movement is against the concentration gradient. So sometimes what happens that here is your membrane, and transport proteins are always needed. It's not without the help of transport protein. Transport proteins are
Yeah.
needed always. So let's say here is the transport protein, the channel, they have made. But like you have what is that? What is that? Sodium. Let's say you have sodium ions. A lot of sodium ions are there outside the cell. In the Let's say this is outside, and this is cytoplasm, and this is membrane. You have a lot of sodium ions outside. Okay, you have just a few inside, very few inside. Okay, so when it goes out, it still needs to go out. So from lower to higher, you have transport taking place from lower to higher concentration region. That's why you're calling it against the concentration gradient. Normally, the flow is from high concentration region to the low concentration region. That's normal. Flow of water, if you say, it's always from like up to down. But why is it ulta? And if it is ulta, it's needed, you'll say it is needed by the cell, it is needed by the body, that sodium, even if it is like higher outside, there should be more sodium outside only. Sodium shouldn't be allowed to stay inside the cell. Okay, all fine. But the thing is that how exactly will it move? Because this is against the nature. For this purpose, you need to provide energy by using an ATP molecule. ATP will be needed in the process. Okay, energy will be given. So how we do, I don't know if you guys have the same thing there, but generally, when you visit India, you might have seen that the water tank is generally like at the rooftop, and you
Yes,
have
yes.
right, and you have you have underground borings, which is like connected with a pump, and this motor pump
Yeah.
is connected through the pipelines to this water tank over the rooftop. So this pump, what does the pump do? Pump provides mechanical energy to move water against the gravity. You need to provide some amount of energy to do work against gravity. That's what you're doing. It's against nature that you go from region of low to high concentration, and you're
Okay.
providing energy here as well. Okay, now the root hair cell, what happens there? Imagine that this is a root hair cell. This is how
Yeah.
it is, and here is a vacuole, and you have rest of it. So first thing is that you need a lot of mitochondria there to provide energy for the active transport of ions. Okay, so yes, you do. This is mitochondria to produce ATP. Why? Because let's say here we have got ions. Let's say nitrate is there. Nitrate is to be absorbed, is to be taken up. Now the concentration of nitrate inside is high actually. Let's remove these. The concentration of nitrate is high inside. Okay, it's not low. You still have more nitrate going inside. So what type of transport is this? It is active transport, and you need ATP for the process. You're actively transporting this nitrate and all other ions to the cell. Even when the concentration of these minerals are high inside, you still have to actively transport it. Why? It's because plants need these ions. That's one thing. Second is that, with the active transport of these mineral ions, what happens to the water's concentration? You see, water, if there is a rule. There is a rule of osmosis. Okay, hold on. I did not discuss osmosis yet. I haven't discussed osmosis yet.
Osmosis, where the fusion of water, no, the movement of water.
Yes, it is. Oh, I do have diffusion and all mentioned here. Okay, I prepared some slides on diffusion. I could not prepare on osmosis. Good, good, good. Okay. Okay, I'll mention what osmosis is. Dekho, what happens in this case is when the nitrates concentration or any solute concentration is high, water concentration is low. That's a
Okay.
rule. If solute concentration is high, solvent's concentration is less. Why exactly? You have any idea?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Dekho, both of these are matter. How do you define matter? What is matter?
Matter is atoms.
Okay.
Held up, multiple atoms put together.
Okay. Okay, fine. Matter is something that has mass and it occupies space. Okay, as simple as that. Matter is something that has mass and it occupies space. So if nitrate is a matter, it has to occupy space. So whatever space it is occupying, it's actually displacing water and occupying the place, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's why when more is nitrate or more is solute, less is solvent, because solvent space, so solute is occupying. That's why you have less solvent. Water space is occupied by nitrate. That's why you have less water. And outside, if you have less nitrate, you have more water. So because of the active transport of ions inside, the water concentration inside goes low. Therefore, water also follows in. Because water will move from region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Okay, that's what happens in the root cell. Moving on to photosynthetic cells, the next specialized